I'm going to make Ashley host and then we'll get to talking. Okay. So I'm going to try to keep it away from everybody asking questions all the way through this situation. If you're one of my admin, could you go ahead and put the PDF up in the chat section for me, please? That will make sure anybody who's joined us from just the link on Facebook will actually have the PDF. If you need the PDF after this and you only had a link, go ahead and head over to the website later tomorrow. The PDF will be loaded up into the LHC shit store. For those of you that are not familiar with how we do things, everything's kept in the shit store. That's where I keep my shit. If you want to come to a lecture, you go there to register for it. You go there to get your PDFs. You go there to get all your stuff. I keep all my shit in the shit store, okay? Shit is everything I create, everything I make, everything I fuck up, everything I change, everything I decide to take to the next level as a witch. Fair? Cool. Lots of different places on the website. Make yourself familiar. I'm going to do a little tutorial later this week, give you guys a tour of the Royal website. Hopefully the web witch, Nikki, will be able to join me because she designed this shit. She might as well show you around this shit, okay? So tonight we're talking creating sacred spell work. So when you think of the concept of spell work, this is your one-on-one conversation with the universe of what you want, how you want it, and the way it is. So, if you were in a relationship, you'd be like, I like it like this, I like it this pace, and I like it this fast. Okay. So if you like it hard, you need to let the universe know. If you like it secretive, you need to let the universe know. But what you need to be with the universe and the powers that be and the collective source is upfront, honest, and open. Okay. So when we're creating spell work, we need to know what first? Intention. You need to know what the fuck you're doing. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, how the fuck can you do it? Okay. No, that's a trick question because you don't have to know what the fuck you're doing to do things. Sometimes we do it by accident, but that's another place. Okay. So when I think creating spell work, I think individual work. Okay. So the world is full of TikTok. We love the TikTok. The TikTok has the great things like just what I thought, trash, and all your dances and all the shit like that. Okay. Awesome. TikTok is not an appropriate place to go get witch facts. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. 75% of the people that are on TikTok have never cleaned their cauldron per se. They don't know what they're doing. They come into this because it is a great place to make your name. It is a great place to do your work. It is a great place to get your fame, your 5 minutes, right? Everybody wants their 5, right? But what you need to keep in mind is everybody getting their 5 is not people who have done their connection of the 5. I'm talking earth, air, fire, water, spirit. That is the 5. That is our beautiful star. That is our connection to everything. That is our fucking feral symbol. You are part of everything, and everything is part of you. How can you do spell work when you are not calling in alchemy to make these things happen? Correct? The number one missing thing from witchcraft, sacred spells, all those things right now is spirit. I got spirit. Yes, I do. I got spirit. How about you? Think about it. Your spirit is the driving force in every form of spell work. If you are not in it to win it, why are you fucking doing it? This is not a half-ass party. I am a size 20 and I put my whole ass in everything I do, okay? I sit that bitch back, I root it in, I get my coochie warmed up, and I push forward. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a big fan of the coochie energy. Everything comes from the vagina, the womb space, the internal cauldron. And my cauldron needs to be bubbling for me to do accurate spell work, okay? So what I want you to understand is, number one, you need to be aligned when you're doing spell work. You need to know who you are, what you believe, and what you want. Fair enough? You need to have an appropriate place to do your spell work. I don't have an altar. Then why the fuck are you a witch? Half this shit is about an altar, bitches. I mean, come on. Are we not all the Martha Stewarts of fucking altars? Be like, look, it's my altar. Isn't it beautiful? Here are the things I've thrifted. Here are the things I've bought. Here are the things that make me happy. Let me tell you, the first thing I did when I got my house home on Thursday night after I peed in my own toilet was light my altar. Okay. I had a twin flames candle going. I had enough smoke and soil dolls sitting on my altar. I had things from every one of the manufacturers and witches in my circle. things that had been sent to me, things, everything, and I had my hands on all of it. I came home. Your altar is home base. It is ground zero. So if you got a dirty altar, you got an undone altar, you got an altar that doesn't exist, get your asses in and get those altars cleaned, staged, cleansed, honed, and most of all, important to you. Right now, I'm big on the ancestor theme. Okay. We're going into a star. We're asking the earth to open up and give us something. What's kept in the soil? Why, the memories of our foremothers. Why, the memories of the earth spirits, the holy ones, the heathen ones, those that run with wolves. That is what you're looking for. Ancestor altars for the fucking win. Okay. Let's move into this energy. Let's call it forth and bring it in. You need to understand, for you, not for me. I don't care what you do in your spell work. Your spell work is not going to affect me because I am protected. I have an ancestor altar going, and what you're doing over there, unless I choose to let it into me, has no effect on me. So this shit where you see people, oh, someone's texting you, oh, if you're protected, what someone's throwing at you is rubber and glue. You don't have to worry about it. Do you understand?
Mhm.
It's when you let those loopholes, those openings, those synapses in your magic is where you become compromised. So when you're creating sacred spell work, I want you to first and foremost do some protection work around your house. Write your own words. Write your own protection spells. Create your own sigils. Use your own symbols. Your magic is tailored to you, not to the witch next to you. If you are in a coven, if you are in a circle, you can work in alignment with the other women in your circle or the other magical workers in your circle. But at the end of the day, you should be a sanctioned star of your own authority. Every one of you should have your own authority, your own protections, your own wards, and the things that work for you. Okay. So if you're a witch that says, I don't need an altar, I don't do written spell work, I fly off the handle, bye. This lecture no longer applies to you. Have a great day. It was nice having you. Nice meeting you. Glad you got to hear me say fuck a couple times. I hope that made your day. Okay. This is not a fly by your seat of your pants practice. It is time to work. It is time to write your spell work. It is time to research your spell work. It is time to put time into your magic. This is no longer a convenience practice. Okay. If you are taking time out of your family schedule, maintaining your home, giving to those you love to maintain yourself as a burning ember, you need to put work into your fire. Okay. So these people who tell you magic is just simple, 1, 2, 3, it is. It's really easy to fuck yourself over. 1, 2, 3. Let me tell you. You do the spell work without the protection, you get what you deserve. Do you understand what that means? This is serious shit you're doing. These people who tell you, oh, don't mess with this, Orisha. Oh, don't mess with this deity. Oh, don't mess with this. Who the fuck are they to tell you what the fuck you can do? I'm done with gatekeeping. Take care of yourself. Know what the fuck you're doing. Respect things that are written. Respect traditions that are sacred. If you want to learn a sacred tradition, contact someone who fucking knows it. Go to a source to learn your magic. Yes, there are authorities in magic. Yes, there are practitioners who've been taught. I hate when people go, you can't learn that because that's not relevant to you. Really? It's not relevant to you. Are you feeling called to it? Yes. Do you know what ancestors of old in previous resonations of yourself did? No. Guess what? That very well could have been what you were called to do. Just because I don't look like Mama Odie in the flesh doesn't mean somewhere in my background I wasn't standing over a fire down in Mississippi and I had the most beautiful ebony skin in the whole wide world. I don't know that. I don't know what my resignation was. I don't know who I was. I just know there's a whole lot of screaming and chanting when I sleep at night. And there's a whole lot of people telling me it's a whole lot deeper. And a lot of you are going through the same situations. Your dreams are an excellent place to start your spell work. What are you doing in your sleep? What are you seeing in your sleep? If you checked out the secret oracle section of the website, you know I'm about to open up dream interpretation services. Why? Because your dreams are the subconscious areas of your mind opening. And you can learn so much from what you see in your sleep. Case in point, 2 weekends ago, I asked you all to light candles. Was it 2 or 3? 3? Was it 3 weekends ago? Yeah, that's how long this has been going on. 3 weekends ago, I asked you all to light candles for me to go to an ISIS portal. Do you remember? I remember. That's some scary shit. I walked into this temple during the meditation while you guys were lighting your candles and saw this big open space, golden hallways, this beautiful woman covered in feathers, her arms outstretched. I was like, I don't belong here. And she's like, why? How many of you think you're doing things you don't belong doing? You have imposter syndrome. Do you know what the cure to imposter syndrome is? One foot in front of the fucking other. And like that little girl Tiana says, you're almost there. You have to dig a little deeper. This is the time in your magic. I am going to be calling you to dig. If you're unmuted, please mute yourselves. It's very important. Keep yourselves muted. When we are working forward and we are working through things, I need you guys to dig. I need you to push. I need you to resonate. I need you to concentrate. I need you to move in directions where you are working to master your individual magic. If you notice, the workshops are more tailored to you now. They're not about a group consensus of how to do things. These are about how to move yourself in circles of knowing to grow. Everything is a circle. That's why we celebrate a wheel. That's why the earth is round. It's a turning, it's a moving in, it's an ever flowing ebb, and sometimes a flow. So, I don't write spells, Sissy. I don't know how to write spells. I'm not good with spells. Okay. I want you to think of a spell as a declaration. What do you want? When do you want it? How do you want it? And most importantly, what are you willing to give to get it? There comes that energy exchange. Because the universe is not going to manifest shit for you if you are not doing the work yourself. I could sit by Caroline's bedside and pray every 5 minutes, I want my child out of this. I want my child out of this. I want my child out of this. But if I told the doctors they couldn't do anything to help her, how's that going to go forward? You have to lay the bricks if you want to build a house. You have to lay the foundation if you want to write appropriate spell work. So what does that require? Well, you got to know your alchemy. You got to know how things work. What does water create? What does fire create? What does air create? And what does earth create? They all provide grounding. They all provide change. Some of them provide different levels of change. If you've ever seen a tsunami, you know water can provide crazy change. And what do you associate with water? Cleansing, removal. How about destruction? Water can be destructive. Fire can be destructive. Air can be destructive. And even earth can be destructive. You have to direct the alchemy of the spell work. I wish to set this spell in an ever-flowing mound of dirt. I want to water it through the moon cycles to watch this grow. And I want it to arise to be blessed by the sun. The sun is fire. Not only is flame fire, the sun is fire. Specific herbs are fire. You need to know these correspondences. How do I do that? Okay, good question, right? You never taught us a class on that. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it my job to do all your witch work for you? I missed that memo. Fucking sorry. I didn't realize that was another class I needed to teach. Guess what, ladies? Time to start reading some fucking books. It's time to start learning some things. Do you understand? So, one thing I've noticed on TikTok, and I don't know how I feel about this creator, but I'm going to give her a shout, okay? Her name is Witchfoot. About 45, she smokes a cigarette every time she's on. Very unpolished. I mean, I love a good unpolished woman. I could resonate with this, okay? And she wrote this correspondence book. Fucking fire. It's on Amazon. I'll share it on the event after we're done talking today, okay? It's $39. She published it herself. Very rudimentary. Looks like it came out of MS-DOS, okay? His fucking book is fire. Do you know why? Because she's legitimate fucking magic. She's not a pretty aesthetic. She's not polished. She's not walking around with the tiara and the garb. She's a fucking real worker. She's teaching you how to use chicken bones and tree sap and all those things to magically enhance your spell work. She's teaching you how to nurture spells. This is what's missing. The mentors now don't want to be aggressive with you and don't want to be mean to you and don't want to come off as harsh because it might hurt somebody's feelings. And we all know how hurting feelings goes in the world of social media. She's a bitch. Oh well, there's worse things I've been called, okay? If a bitch is the worst thing you call me, that's a win for me. Like I always say to my husband, I am a special kind of bitch. I am a cunt. And he goes, I said, and that takes skill. So you have to understand the people who are going to give you these resources aren't polished and aren't pretty and aren't sage goddess and aren't the sisters enchanted. These are real working witches. They probably have dirty fingernails. They probably have jars in their apothecary you don't even want to see. They probably have blood from their last menstrual cycle in their refrigerator. They probably got some piss in a jar somewhere around their house. And I know for a fact they probably pee by their cauldron after their Zoom classes because they're too lazy to walk to their house. Just saying. I know these women, okay? We are the forefront of magic coming in. We're unpolished, we're unpretty, we're unrehearsed, we're off the cuff magic. Those are the kind of people you're looking for. So you got to get a correspondence book going for yourself, okay? So if you took a folk magic 101 class with me, way back when I was nice, way back when I was nice, there was this folk magic 101 class, and I had a complete correspondence in there. And it was an Appalachian granny witch correspondence sheet, okay? I will do my dig and see if I can find it. Those of you, if you have it, go ahead and put it up in the forum. I know some of you have that correspondence list because it was beautiful. These are the things that you need to know how they work. What herbs can you use? What salts can you use? What household items can you use? All these things are useful in your spell work. I'm going to tell you, and this is going to sound very odd, but I think some of the best witches I've ever seen cast spells are kitchen witches because they know what their herbs do. They know how their herbs work. Second place is hedge witches. Them bitches can make anything magic because they don't have a choice. We sit in our our huts and we look at our shit and we're like, that'll do. I'll use that pine cone. I'll use that squirrel tail. Yes, I have a jar full of squirrel tails. And I use them for confusing spell work. I use them for chaos spell work. Have you ever seen a squirrel run in a circle? Perfect correspondence. Just telling you. So these correspondences, these things you're working with, you got to learn them. Candle colors are important. But when all else fails, use a white fucking candle. Rosemary cannot replace any herb you have. That's a fallacy. Rosemary has a purpose and rosemary has a job, okay? So don't think you can replace anything with anything because not everything is interchangeable. The modern witchcraft world has made it convenient for you to not go out and buy things. Oh, you can just use rosemary. Oh, you can just use that. Really? Because I don't think you can. There are certain things you need, and there are certain things that are tried and true. Your spit is the strongest protection magic you can add to a spell, next to your own blood. Your own blood is the best protection magic in the world. You want to seal a spell to you? Put some blood on it. If it's your moon blood, it's even stronger. You need to understand that when you're creating spell work, you're going from the bottom up. You're starting with the intention, you're gathering the herbs, you're choosing the moon phase. So there's a moon PDF over on the New Witch, the New Broom area. You might want to grab it. It has a lot of information about spell work on it. And it tells you what spells work better at what phases of the moon. Plan your fucking spell work. Plan when you're going to manifest. Plan when you're going to remove things. Plan when you're going to move forward. Those things are important. Don't be asking for new things at full moon. Just because that's when everybody can see the moon doesn't mean it's the strongest. There's this fallacy that when you can see the moon, it's its strongest. That is not the case. In the absence of all light, magic is its strongest. Remember that. The darker the goddess, the stronger the gift. Some of you are not comfortable in the dark space, and I understand that. But there really is no difference between dark and light magic. You are the difference in dark and light magic. The source of your sacred hearth impacts the magic and how it will work. I know some of the strongest manifestations I've seen in this group were from some of the women with the darkest past. The most pain, the most overcoming, the things that they have manifested have been unbelievable. We are a group of nomadic women from all over the world. There are women in this group from Australia. We have some from South America. I have a few women from Great Britain. They're from everywhere. But we are a sisterhood. And when one hand reaches to another, that's the most important part. I'm part of an online group. And she talks about this, putting your hand out and feeling the compelling hand in your hand of your sister across the miles. That should be something we can feel. That should be something we can tangibly do. If you are creating sacred spell work, your spell work is strong enough to touch the people you're looking for. So write the spells, know the correspondences. Now, what's a great way to do this? Oh, I'm going to tell you what's my favorite way to keep track of everything, everybody. A journal. We need a journal. A spell work journal. Okay. There are great online sources for spell work journals. I am going to throw a couple up in the PDF vault we have on the website. If you're in the MVPs, I'm going to give you mine in the MVP because I have a special one that I created for myself. And it's a fucking feral one and it's going to go out with the book. So that's what you want. So yeah, I know, right? Yeah, Sissy's like been over here making PDFs like a motherfucker. It's cry on the bathroom floor, get up, listen to the nurse, make a PDF, go cry on the bathroom floor and come back. That's what my days consisted of for the last 2 weeks. Lots of water elemental cleansing going on. So when you think of these things, I want you to, number one, write down when you did the spell. Number two, write what you used to do the spell. Number three, write what you're expecting from the spell. Now, here comes the hardest part. Are you ready? I want you to sit back and I want you to wait. And I want you to think about how the spell manifested. Give it a moon cycle. Then go back and write your reflections on that spell work. Okay? Everybody's expecting immediate responses from spell work, and that's not always how it works. Sometimes it takes its time because the universe is looking at you going, you're not ready yet. No, not yet. Soon. Maybe now. And I noticed that sometimes we are the people who stand in the result phase. We block it because what you're going to understand is when things come out of your spell work, they're not what you thought. They're not what you thought. They're different results. And you're probably going to lose something to gain something. You're probably going to be very angry with that fact. Okay. So what I would like you to do is create a little space in your spell worksheet for your emotional reaction to the outcome of the spell once it manifests. Then, next time you want to write a spell, for those of you that are coming into the grimoire group with us that you applied and you'll be in there, this is an important part of your grimoire that you can go back and reference what you've done. And when you can reference what you've done, look at those spells. Next time you need to do a spell, you can go, well, this really worked well for me. So I'm going to do this and just tweak it a little bit. Spell work is an intentional, contemplative exercise in your magical abilities. And what people seem to forget is it is not a copy and paste from Pinterest, 2 short words, light a candle, and walk away. That is not spell work. Spell work needs fed. It needs soul feeding. It needs emotional feeding. It needs result feeding. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to feed a spell because what they discover in feeding a spell is they are losing a little of themselves to the work. Now, I know this question is going to come up, so I'm going to just address it now. What if I'm working with a Okay, so I know you're all good with it. What if I'm working with a deity? Well, you have to appease the deity before you can ask the deity to help you. So don't just every 5 minutes go get a new deity, a flavor of the month that you think is going to work for you and expect them to deliver. It's like calling the friend you haven't talked to in 10 years and asking if you can use their mixer. If I'm your friend and we haven't talked in 10 years, you're not touching my fucking mixer. Sorry, not going to happen. Relationships and spell work are very similar. Hold on a second, guys. I just lost my chair. My fat ass collapsed it. There we go. So, side note. Now, when you are dealing with deities and you are asking things of deities, you need to maintain the relationship with a deity. That means you do some research. That means you have a conversation. That means you put out some offerings prior to that spell work. This comes in with the planning, okay? So if you're going to ask Susie Kabloozy if you can use her house for a birthday party, you should probably talk to her for a couple months prior, right? Right. You've got to lay the foundation to have these deities work with you. Everybody thinks, oh, it's Hecate's night. I'm just going to give her an offering and we're going to be cool. She's going to turn around and go, I don't fucking know you. What do you fucking want? Why are you calling me? I don't know you. It's like you with your caller ID and you see someone's number. You don't want, not today, Satan. Not today. Because Hecate and Kali and Demeter and the Morgan, don't even do that to the Morgan. I advise that wholeheartedly. Don't just be calling up the Morgan. That bitch means business and she ain't going to take your shit. Okay. You have to open channels of communication before you can ask for favors. Make sense? We need to have a rapport with the deities we're working with. Okay. Now that goes for kind-hearted deities as well. You know, now that I've called on Isis and I asked her for a favor, guess who has an Isis altar now? Ugh. Ugh. This is a lot of work. Ugh. Okay? But I've made an arrangement to work with her, to learn from her. And here comes Mary Magdalene, that old whore. She's coming down the road. She's like, hey, what you want? I'm like, nothing from you and your Jesus bullshit. But alas, here it comes. Okay. What you need to understand is, yes, you can work with different deities. You notice there's a feral deity work coming up, and it talks about building these relationships. Because what I've discovered is people don't understand you can be an equal opportunity player, but you got to know how to play the game. This is a cosmic magical game where you understand the energy exchange of the universe. Things will be taken. Comfort levels will disappear in order for you to build relationships. So those of you that are shopping for deities, I encourage you to hold your shits. Just hold your tits back, calm all the tits. Just relax, learn Reach out and establish the rapport before you call someone in off the bench to give you assistance you haven't worked with before, okay? Because they may be requesting something that you're not willing to give. Remember that. I learned that the hard way last year with Angry Buddha. I spent a lot of time in a fucking tree. Bitch wasn't playing games. Sit up there and learn how to behave. Goddesses of great power are going to make you better, whether or not you like it. They're like mean mom syndrome. Working with dark goddesses is a lot like mean mom syndrome. You got to learn how to handle yourself in the situation. A mean mom may suck, but she will make you a better person. Ask my kids. It's the way it is. You cannot gain by not giving. So, we're going to write our own spell work. Do you have to be Dr. Seuss? No, but it's kind of cute if you are. Just saying. Do you have to have haikus? No, but it's kind of cute if you're saying, right? What do you need to do? You need to be intentionally clear. You need to be authentic in your intentions. And most and foremost of all, you need to really plan when you're going to do this spell work. So when you see people prepping things for their spell work, making candles, prepping their altars, laying out offerings, making ritual cords, they're doing it for a reason because this will be a long-term spell work for them. I have a spell going on my altar now for 45 days. And I'm still feeding it and I'm still working with it and it's still not yielding what I want. So if any of you newbies are sitting there going, I did this 2 weeks ago, and it's not, guess what? Some of us old bitches have to do it for a long time too. It's going to take time. Magic is not instant, but it is always on time. I know that's a hard lesson for us to learn, but it's very important. So I am going to have Ashley stop the recording. She'll probably have to give it back to me. We'll stop the recording and we will go into questions. That way you guys can ask your questions in this. Thank you everybody that came tonight. The replay will be up on the YouTube. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to answer questions. I just want to take you guys off of the Zoom so your questions aren't recorded for the replay. Ashley, did you give it back? Okay, good. I'm going to pause this.